As we move into this new school year, all District 51 middle schools will continue using standards-based grading, an initiative that was piloted by our middle schools in the 2011-2012 school year. In addition, this year, District 51 elementary schools will also be adopting standards-based grading and reporting to help make a smoother transition from 5th to 6th grade. This video is to inform you, the parents and guardians of our middle school students, on what standards-based grading is, why District 51 has implemented this grading method, and how you will best be able to support your students' success under standards-based grading. Picture yourself as you were learning to drive. The first day you were behind the wheel of a car, you didn't yet know how to parallel park, turn left into traffic, work a clutch, etc. Had you taken your driving test before you truly knew how to drive a car, it is likely you would have received a 0 or a failing grade. However, once you had the opportunity to gain confidence and practice behind the wheel, when it came time to test again, perhaps you received a 100% or a passing grade. The way that traditional 100-point grading scales, and that's where 90 to 100 denotes an A, 80 to 89 denotes a B, and so on, well, the way that those grading scales work is to take all of your test scores, add them together, and then divide by the number of the tests that were scored. So in our driving example, you would add the first score of 0 with the 100 from the second score and divide by 2. All right, well, here's the kicker. Although in your second test you proved you learned all the material necessary to pass the driving test and get your license, because you got that 0 on your first test, your average score is a 50. And as all of you know, in the traditional 100-point grading system, a 50 is a failing grade. So in this example, you would not get your license because you still had a failing grade, although you clearly know how to drive a car now. Doesn't seem right to be penalized for not knowing the material at the beginning when it is clear you are proficient in the material at the end, does it?
Well, the reason I like standard-based grading is because instead of just maybe getting a bad grade and just leaving it like that, you can restudy and try to meet the standards again.
Standards-based grading looks at the academic achievement of the student and grades based on most recent evidence of learning, rather than penalizing a student for a low or missing test score earlier. Standards-based grading also gives students very specific targets. This is called a rubric.
A rubric explains how we're being graded. Like a 1.0 is like you need to work a little harder to get proficient. 2.0 is you're almost there but not quite. 3.0, you're like head on, you know what you're talking about. And 4.0, you're going the extra mile in what you're learning.
Let's say the topic of study for your student in science that quarter is motion and forces. Your student would be given a rubric that clearly establishes the learning goals for that unit of study. If your student wants to receive a grade of advanced for this topic, the rubric that student will be following will require more knowledge of facts than a rubric for a grade of proficient.
Well, in 6th and 7th grade, we didn't really have standard-based grading, and it was pretty easy to get an A because you just had to finish the work properly. But in 8th grade, to finish the work properly, you get a 3, and if you go above and beyond in standard-based grading, you get a 4.
With this new standard-based grading, you can't just answer it, you really have to show that you're actually thinking about it. You really have to put that extra like advanced thought into it.
In the end, it's not just getting a good grade, it's also just helping myself learn a little bit more too.
It's really pushed me to do my best to try to get the 4th.
Helped me advance because it is harder now, I think, to get like the A. So you really have to think harder and really think outside the box to get a 4 now.
Well, it gives us a goal and we have to find ways to achieve it.
Standards-based grading will be reporting not only the academic achievement of the student, for instance, what students know, understand, and are able to do, but also the learning behavior of the student. These learning behaviors are collaboration, work ethic, and personal as well as civic responsibility. The learning behavior grade is only reported. It does not affect the final proficiency level of the student. There are many benefits to standards-based grading. Remembering back to our example with the car, perhaps the most obvious benefit is that students are not penalized for their journey to a proficient or advanced understanding of the topic, only rewarded for their academic growth. It also helps students to have a very clear understanding on what is expected of them in order to achieve a certain grade.
I think that standards-based grading has changed the entire paradigm in my classroom from a situation where I was in control and the students were doing something to please me to a place where they were here to learn, and we were partners in that learning with me giving feedback that they could really use to progress.
I think standard-based grading has helped me become a better student because in 6th and 7th grade it was really easy to receive an A, you just had to do the work, but now it pushes me to be the best student that I can be.
Standard-based grading has definitely helped me become a better student.
I think standards-based grading has helped me push my education further.
I think that you shouldn't relate it to grading you've had before because it's a lot different, but it pushes you to be a better student. You want to try to get that 4 so you can be happy that you've done the best that you possibly can in that class and you understand what's going on.
Standardizing our grading system offers numerous benefits to parents and guardians as well. Some of you may be wondering what you can do to help your student be successful in this new grading system. The changes to ParentBridge will be very helpful in you understanding exactly what content is being covered. Content standard and grade level expectations are located with the assignment description on ParentBridge. From this screen, it will be clear what the assignment is and what the student is expected to learn, measured against the standard grade level expectation. This is just a short introduction into standards-based grading. More information will now be shared with you through a PowerPoint presentation. And, as always, teachers and school administrators are ready to answer your questions and support you as you support your child in this exciting new era of standards-based grading and reporting.